Beetlejuice Beetlejuice is the sequel to 1988's Beetlejuice, once again directed by Tim Burton and once again starring Michael Keaton as the title character Beetlejuice, and bringing back Catherine O'Hara, Winona Ryder, and bringing in Jenna Ortega, Monica Bellucci, and Willem Dafoe. After a family tragedy, 3 generations of the Dietz family return home to Winter River. Still haunted by Beetlejuice, Lydia's life is turned upside down when her teenage daughter, Astrid, accidentally opens the portal to the afterlife. I had a lot of fun with Beetlejuice too. I don't think that this is like a perfect movie or anything, but I could see this as being a gateway horror for a younger generation that's maybe on the verge of getting into horror, like young preteens or teenagers that have just turned 13 or 14 that are kind of on the fence about whether or not they should watch horror movies. It just had that 90s Halloween movie vibe to me. Like the vibe that I would get from watching something like Hocus Pocus. I know that's like a really random comparison, but it's that tone, it's that vibe, like a vibe that's perfect for families. And I really dug that about this movie, but it also just goes into the wacky zaniness of a Tim Burton movie. Grotesque stuff here, things you would expect from classic Tim Burton, not modern Tim Burton, classic Tim Burton. It felt like a classic Tim Burton movie, and I really appreciated that. It was like he was turning back the clock and knew it was like, okay, Beetlejuice is one of my beloved classics. I really got to tap into some things I haven't really tapped into, the potential that I know that I have that I haven't had for a few movies now. I'll give him Dumbo. I like Dumbo, but his other stuff, not really. And he turns back the clock to bring it up to a completely different Tim Burton level. Granted, there are a few things that don't really work for me in terms of how crazy it gets. I think it gets a little too zany at times. It's still a really fun ride, entertained, didn't hate it at all. And this is a perfect movie for somebody like Jenna Ortega, who is a modern scream queen, to star in. When I see her in this movie, I'm just thinking this is exactly like what I picture that show Wednesday to be like. I haven't seen Wednesday, so I can't really comment on it, but she's the star of that. I mean, we know that she was in 2 Scream movies. She was in X. She's a modern Scream queen, so why not put her in a Beetlejuice sequel? And she's great in this movie, too. I really love Jenna Ortega. Just have her in anything like that has this like gothic, haunted, type of feel to it, and she'll fit right in as she does naturally in this movie. This movie does suffer from a bit of an overabundance of too many characters, too many subplots that it tries to coalesce all together, and it does it in a messy type of way. It does all come together, but it's just getting to those points feel really messy. And this whole thing with Willem Dafoe in this movie, I feel like this could have been left on the cutting room floor, but I really enjoyed it because I think Willem Dafoe is actually the funniest part of the movie. And anytime he was on screen, while I found it pointless kind of, it was actually really entertaining. I loved watching him, but I also loved watching Michael Keaton come back as Beetlejuice. The wacky dialogue, the one-liners, just in Beetlejuice form. It felt like Michael Keaton never left this role. And speaking of things that I also think are a waste here, Monica Bellucci. Yeah, no, she was set up to be the main villain of the movie, and she technically is, but A, she doesn't have much dialogue. B, she doesn't have much of a screen presence. C, her character's not really in it all that much because we're focusing on so many things at once that so many things, because of all these subplots and overabundance of characters, she gets lost in the shuffle, and it's the one thing in the movie that I don't think necessarily worked. Even though the overabundance of subplots and characters, it dragged it down, they were relevant to what the movie was trying to do. It was just a bit messy, and I just don't think that that really worked for me. It just felt like it was shoehorned in there. It just felt like it was shoved in there just to have a bit more of a conflict in the movie that the movie didn't necessarily need. But Beetlejuice is a good time. I was entertained by it, and this really honestly got me in a Halloween horror movie type of vibe, even this early in September. Usually it's towards the end of September, always at the beginning of October. I never usually start watching Halloween or horror movies around this time of the year. I usually wait till closer to the end of September. And if I don't do it at the end of September, I always do it. Make sure I do it October 1st. But this kind of put me in like that, okay, maybe like the kind of teenage gateway horror, a little bit lighthearted, but still kind of intense Halloween movie tone in ways what I was talking about at the beginning. That was my immediate thought coming out of the theater. I was just like, I had a lot of fun with it in the way that I had fun with 90s and early 2000s Halloween horror movies. And I don't need this sequel to blow me away. I just needed a fun, entertaining time that showed me that Tim Burton could turn back the clock and just tap into the side of Tim Burton that we haven't seen for a while. And it totally did that. I enjoyed Beetlejuice with 3/4 of a bucket of popcorn. So if you guys have seen Beetlejuice, let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. I'll leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.